Now this is Second Maccabees chapter 7 and 1, and it reads, "And it came to pass also that 7 brethren with their mother were taken and compelled by the king against the law to taste swine's flesh." Right, going back to Ptolemy, right, because they were doing all types of lewdness in the temples. Right, it was the scribe Eleazar that first sparked this revolt, because Eleazar was an old man and he said, "Nah, I ain't gonna eat no swine's flesh." At this time, they were doing all types of abominable feasts to Bacchus in the temples, and all types of drunken revelry was happening under the Greeks, right? So it says, "And it came to pass also that 7 brethren with their mother were taken and compelled by the king against the law to taste swine's flesh, and were tormented with scourges and whips. But one of them that spake first said thus, What wouldest thou ask or learn of us? We are ready to die, rather than to transgress the laws of our fathers." Then the king, being in a rage, commanded pans and cauldrons be made hot, which forthwith being heated, he commanded to cut out the tongue of him that spake first, and to cut off the utmost parts of his body, the rest of his brethren and his mother looking on. That's how you know these same Edomites were the same white people that were in America and throughout the 4 corners of the earth doing the wickedness that they did unto us, because that's what they used to do to us. They used to cut off our body parts, right? That's what these white people did. And you people want us to forgive them? You want us to forgive our enemies that have done this wickedness unto us? Come on, man. You people are sick. It says, "Now when he was thus maimed in all his members," and you think the Lord is not going to revenge this? You think the Lord is just going to let this slide? A righteous man died for keeping the laws, statutes, and commandments of Yahweh, and you think that the Lord is just going to forgive this? You people are sick, right? It says, "Now when he was thus maimed in all his members, he commanded him, being yet alive, to be brought to the fire, and to be fried in a pan." Yes, you read that right. To be fried in a pan. "And as the vapor of the pan was for a good space dispersed, they exhorted one another with the mother to die manfully, saying thus, The Lord Yahweh looketh upon us, and in truth hath comfort in us, as Moses in his song, which witness to their faces declared, saying, And he shall be comforted in his servants. So when the first was dead after this number, they brought the second to make him a mocking stock. And when they had when they had pulled off the skin of his head with the hair, they asked him, Wilt thou eat before thou be punished throughout every member of thy body? This is what they're going to do to the elect men that don't take the MOTB, right? This is what's going to happen when brothers refuse the MOTB. Some brothers are going to be put to death. Know that, right? This is going to be our lot. Some of us, that's going to be our lot. It is what it is. Verse 8, "But he answered in his own language and said no," right? But he answered in his own language and said no. But he answered in his own language and said no. Right? For you people that are saying, oh, you can call the Lord whatever you want to call him. No, we answer in our own language. We're going back to our ancient language, which is the Hebrew, which is the Lashon Kodash. Wherefore he also received the next torment in order as the former did. And when he was at the last gasp, He said, though like a fury take us out of this present life, but the King of the world shall us raise us up who have died for his laws. Exactly. Nothing, us perishing, us being tormented, nothing crazy is happening to us because Yahushua went through this as well. Yahushua went through this. Yahushua went through his shame before he got his fame. All right? It says, died for his laws unto everlasting life. After him was the third made a mocking stock, and when he was required, he put out his tongue, and that right soon, holding forth his hand manfully, and said courageously, these I had from heaven, and for his laws I despised them, and from him I hope to receive them again. Insomuch that the king and they that were with him marveled at the young man's courage, for that he nothing regarded the pains, meaning that he was in the spirit, right? Like when you're in that spirit, you ain't gonna feel no pain, right? You gotta disconnect your mind from your body, right? But really and truly, this is not something that can be taught. This is just something that, hopefully in that day, the Lord blesses us with, that, he's going to put that spirit upon us to where we don't feel no pain. Verse 13, now when this man was dead, also they tormented and mangled the fourth in like manner. So when he was ready to die, he said thus, it is good being put to death by men, to look for hope from Yahweh, to be raised up again by him. See, reincarnation. Reincarnation. We will be raised up again, brothers and sisters. Because remember, they were with their mom, right? And their mom was a very brave woman. So men and women, there's some good women out there, man. Right? It says, as for thee, thou shalt have no resurrection to life. And meaning that they shall have no resurrection in power. But their candle will be put out after serving us for 1,000 years. These Edomites, right? You so-called white people, right? You Caucasians, you're gonna serve us for 1,000 years. Hard labor, hard fucking labor. And after those 1,000 years, your candle is gonna be put out. You should know what I mean by that. I'm not using the word deleted anymore. I'm going to say your candle is going to be put out. It says, verse 15, afterward they brought the fifth also and mangled him. Mangled. Brothers, look that word up. Then looked he unto the king and said, thou hast power over men. Thou art corruptible. Thou doest what thou wilt. Yet think not that our nation is forsaken of Yahweh. Exactly. We are not forsaken. That's why we're being risen up right now. We're being risen up right now through the power and spirit of the Rakah Kodash, through Yahushai, right? Yahushai already did the heavy lifting, brothers. The heavy lifting is already done. Yahushai finished the mission, finished the task. What we're going through right now is nothing. Right? Put in your mind that we are already in the kingdom. No one can stop the kingdom because Yahushai has already won. The fight is done. Yahushai is in his new body. That means when he comes back, he already won. It doesn't matter what Esau does. Right? Brothers are doing lessons on Esau building his underground empire. That's good. That's where the gold is going to be stored. That's where everything is going to be stored for us. So when it's time for us to go back in power, everything is going to be preserved. We're just going to go and we're just going to take everything. Those Edomites are going to be living good. They're going to be fat. They're going to be healthy because we're going to put them right to work. They're going to be living good in the underground cities that they have built, and we're going to put them right to work. They're going to go right into slavery, all healthy and nice. They're going to be eating the best of the best. They're going to be working out. They're going to have swimming pools under there, right? Track and field. They're going to be nice and in shape. They're going to have all types of, they're going to have the best vegetables, real vegetables. They're going to be eating fruits with seeds, because when we take them out of those underground cities, they're never going to eat good again in their life. I don't know what I'm going to feed my slaves, but it's going to be something like what they had our priests eating. What did they have the Haitians eating? Mud cakes. So if the Haitians can survive off of fucking mud cakes, the Edomites are going to have to survive off of that shit as well. You think you Edomites are going to be eating anything healthy, anything good, and you gave us GMOs? You so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, you've been surviving off of GMOs for the past fucking 40, 50 years. And you think we're going to feed these damn devils anything good? I wouldn't give a fuck if these Edomites lived off of shit. Straight up feces. All right? It says, then looked he unto the king and said, Thou hast power over men. Thou art corruptible. Thou doest what thou wilt, yet think not that our nation is forsaken of Yahweh. But abide a while, and behold his great power, how he will torment thee and thy seed. After him also they brought the sixth, who being ready to die said, Be not deceived without cause, for we suffered these things for ourselves, having sinned against our power. Hey, brothers, at the end of the day, no matter what we go through, right? When we're going through the ups and downs of life, the first thing you got to put in your mind is that we sinned. That's it. It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. We could lose everything. It doesn't matter what we lose. We could be put to shame. Doesn't matter. Remember, we sinned. We sinned. We sinned against Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahushai. So everything we get, we deserve. Everything we get, we deserve. Right? We sinned against our power. Therefore, marvelous things are done unto us. But think not that thou that takest in hand to strive against Yahweh, that thou shalt escape unpunished. But the mother was marvelous above all. See, so are there good women? Hell yes. She just watched all her sons be put to death. But the mother was marvelous above all and worthy of honorable memory. For when she saw her 7 sons slain within the space of one day, she bare it with a good courage, because of the hope that she had in the Lord. Yea, she exhorted every one of them in her own language, filled with courageous spirits, and stirring up her womanish thoughts with a manly stomach. She said unto them, I cannot tell how you came into my womb, for I neither gave you breath nor life, neither was it I that formed the members of every one of you, which means that she never called herself a fucking mother goddess. She wasn't in a mother goddess spirit. Right? Like these different Egyptologists and these different women that think that they're mother goddess and they could, what was that shit that they used to sprout, that a woman can give birth without a man? Right? So this woman wasn't in that spirit, but doubtless the creator of the world, who formed the generations of man and found out the beginning of all things, will also of his own mercy give you breath and life again, reincarnation again. Right? So these people, these Israelites, they knew about reincarnation, and best believe these people will be honored in the kingdom. We will talk about them forever and ever and ever in the kingdom. They will be honored. All right. We're going to write them in our history books, and people are going to learn about these people, especially that woman. That's a brave woman, man. It says, and will also of his own mercy give you breath and life again, as you now regard not your own selves for his law's sake. Now Antiochus, thinking himself despised and suspecting it to be a reproachful speech, whilst the youngest was yet alive, did not only exhort him by words, but also assured him with oaths that he would make him both a rich and happy man if he would turn from the laws of his fathers, and that also he would take him for his friend and trust him with affairs. But when the young man would in no case hearken unto him, and the king called his mother and exhorted her that she would counsel the young man to save his life, and when he had exhorted her with many words, she promised him that she would counsel her son. But she, bowing herself toward him, laughing the cruel tyrant to scorn, spake in her own country language on this manner: O my son, have pity upon me, that bare thee 9 months in my womb, and gave thee such 3 years, and nourished thee, and brought thee up unto this age, and endured the troubles of education. I beseech thee, my son, look upon the heaven and the earth and all that is therein, and consider that Yahweh made them of things that were not, and so was mankind made likewise. Fear not this tormentor, but being worthy of thy brethren, take thy death, that I may receive thee again in mercy with thy brethren. While she was yet speaking these words, the young man said, Whom wait ye for? I will not obey the king's commandments, but I will obey the commandment of the law that was given unto our fathers by Moses. And thou that hast been the author of all mischief against the Hebrews shall not escape the hands of Yahweh, but we suffer because of our sins. And though the living Lord be angry with us a little while for our chastening and correction, ye shall he be at one again, while his servants. But thou, O godless man, and of all other most wicked, be not lifted up without a cause, nor puffed up with uncertain hopes. Lifted up thy hand against the servants of Yahweh, for thou hast not yet escaped the judgment of the Almighty Power, who seeth all things. For our brethren, who now have suffered a short pain, are dead under Yahweh's covenant of everlasting life. But thou, through the judgment of Yahweh, shall receive just punishment for thy pride. But I, as my brethren, offer up my body and life for the laws of our fathers, beseeching Yahweh that he would speedily be merciful unto our nation, and that thou by torments and plagues mayest confess that he alone is our power, and that in me and my brethren and the wrath of the Almighty, which is justly brought upon our nation, may cease. Then the king, being in a rage, handed him worse than all the rest, and took it grievously that he was mocked. So this man died undefiled, and put his whole trust in the Lord. Last of all, after the sons, the mother died. Let this be enough now to have spoken concerning the idolatrous feasts and the extreme tortures. Wow. 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 Let that breathe. Let that minister to your spirit what we went through. Let that minister to your spirit, man. Let the accounts of our suffering, let the accounts of what we will go through coming up in the time of Jacob's trouble, man. This is serious, man. This is serious. This is not no joke.